Activision and their developers deleted Warzone 1 and the servers in its entirety. I'm talking the graphics, the sounds, the guns, the map, and all of its little capabilities and all the little things that they added over the course of about 3 years. They completely deleted it. Hello everyone, I'm Shadow Shadnick. Welcome to my channel. And today I want to talk about Rebirth Island and what's going to happen to Rebirth Island once Verdansk is released. Now, honestly, I don't think it's going to be as dramatic as Warzone 1. I don't think that they're going to delete this version of Rebirth Island. I don't think they're even going to necessarily remove it from the playlist for long. Now, when Verdansk comes out on April 3rd, 2025, they're probably going to take Rebirth Island away for a little bit. They're going to put Resurgence on little areas of Verdansk, or like small POIs or point of interest on Verdansk. And most likely we're not going to have direct access to Rebirth Island initially. But I'm thinking that once Verdansk, we get initiated into it and they see how the player numbers are and everything like that, they've already mentioned how they're going to change Verdansk and some of the POIs, so it's not going to remain stagnant. It's not going to remain the OG version of Verdansk. So they're going to make some changes to it. They're probably going to open up Stadium. They're probably going to open up the train station, little things like that, maybe even more. We'll see what they decide to do. But when they do decide to change the POIs on Verdansk, I imagine that is probably when Rebirth Island will make its return. Or maybe they bring back one or more of the other smaller Resurgence maps like Ashika Island or Fortune's Keep. I do believe that we are getting Fortune's Keep again in the future at some point in time. I think there is an updated version of that in the game files as we speak. But Rebirth Island, it's just kind of interesting to kind of compare it to what they did with Warzone 1. Warzone 1, they literally deleted it. Now, I'm kind of speculating here, but for the most part, I'm thinking that's accurate, that they'd completely deleted Warzone 1 in its entirety. And it's just kind of shocking and kind of really hard to wrap my brain around it. Let me know down in the comments what you think about Warzone 1 and them completely deleting it from its existence. Because if you look at the comments section of the recent trailer for this new version of Verdansk that is coming in April, everyone in the comments is essentially saying that they don't just want the map back, they want everything back. Everything that I said that they deleted is what everybody wants back. We want the sounds, we want the guns, we want the graphics. We don't just want Verdansk. And it's really interesting that is what everybody is kind of crying for, but yet that is the thing that they went and deleted from existence. And I just want to take you guys back for a little bit, just kind of the history of Warzone kind of specifically within Call of Duty and its history. And Verdansk and Warzone 1 was the best thing to happen to Call of Duty in a very long time. If you remember back to like 2018, Call of Duty Black Ops 4 was the most recent Call of Duty of that time. People weren't that hyped on that game. Yeah, there was a lot of people playing it for the most part, but it was before we got crossplay. So we had the player base split up depending on whether you're playing on PlayStation, PC, or Xbox. So the player numbers weren't what we got right after we got Verdansk. Now, you fast forward to 2020, we get Verdansk and the pandemic happens, so everyone's at home playing video games all the time. But Call of Duty has a resurgence, no pun intended, in terms of its player base. Like literally it gains millions of players, largely due to the pandemic, but also because Warzone 1 was that game. It was really a game mode that people enjoyed playing for hours and hours and hours on end. And they literally went and took that, which again brought them millions of players that hadn't been paying attention to Call of Duty in a long time, and they changed it all to hell to see what the gameplay that you're actually seeing right here on screen of me playing on Rebirth Island with some randoms. This is the gameplay that we're now getting. And yeah, it's fast paced and it's action packed. It is somewhat entertaining to watch for sure, but it's lacking that authentic Warzone feel that we had back in 2020. The sound that you put the plates on, the floating loot, the weapons that you used and how they felt, and they felt like every weapon kind of had more of a purpose, as opposed to just searching what is the latest Warzone meta and essentially applying that to your loadout and then jumping in game. And Warzone kind of always had the problem with the meta and the loadouts where everyone's kind of using the same weapons all the time because of what's working online for streamers and content creators like myself, but obviously a lot more popular people. And you know, it's always kind of been a weird issue with Warzone, but that is also what makes Warzone unique. That's kind of what set Warzone apart from a lot of other battle royales, is that you got this unique loadout that you built yourself before you got to play in the game, and then you got to obtain somehow within the game, whether that's buying your weapons from the buy station or getting a loadout. And that's what made Warzone kind of unique, and that's what made it a lot different from Blackout. And I've been kind of preaching for this for a long time. I really wish that Warzone would create, first off, foremost, I want it to be a separate IP or a separate game from the premium side of Call of Duty. It would be really nice if it was like literally a separate launcher, a separate thing. They added weapons and updates on its own time. But also additionally, I would like 2 modes within that Warzone. I would like one mode where you have to loot for every little bit of loot, including your attachments, just like Blackout, a lot like PUBG, your more traditional battle royale. And then another iteration where it's, you know, more like Plunder maybe, but it doesn't have to be like Plunder. It can be like traditional Warzone where you land in with a pistol and then you're able to get a loadout that you built prior to the game. And I like that idea of having both of those kind of modes, one where you're scavenging a lot more, and then another one where you're essentially building your loadout for success before you get in. And I think that would help Warzone a lot. Continue to be free to play, have two modes within it, and then separate it from the premium side of Call of Duty. And then the premium side of Call of Duty, the multiplayer, the zombies, the campaign, if you will, that can be updated and changed or whatever, added new weapons and updates on its own time, as well as separate from Warzone. I think that would really make the game a lot better, and a lot more people would be more interested in staying around and sticking around. And another thing that's been called for, I've heard it in a couple other content creator videos, and I completely agree. Call of Duty probably should be updated a little bit more frequently than it is, considering how fast-paced this game is and how quickly the player base kind of decides to change how they're playing the game and what they think of the game on a dime, essentially. Because, I mean, if you remember when Black Ops 6 first released, the reviews were pretty much positive initially. And then as time grew on, everyone kind of dropped the game. So, I don't know. I just hope that they don't first and initially completely get rid of Rebirth Island. I think that that's probably the best thing the Warzone has going right now. And if Verdansk isn't a hit, they're definitely going to have to kind of rely on it and bring it back. And we already know what they've kind of threatened. If Verdansk doesn't do very well, they're saying that they're not going to update it, and probably there's not going to be like a Warzone 3 or whatever they're going to do in the future. So a lot's riding on this, and we've got a few more weeks now until that's dropped. I do know that I don't know if they changed the name of the new zombies map that is also dropping with season 3, but it's going to be called the Veil or something like that. It's not actually being called the Mansion like we thought it was from the files. So like I said before previously in other videos, we will be doing the Easter egg on the new zombies map and showing that off on the channel, as well as Verdansk when that drops. So there's going to be a lot of content moving forward from Shadow Shadnick. If you are not subscribed, you definitely want to do so down below, and drop me a comment down below for what you think, as well as a like, as it really helps me in the algorithm. And as a repeat reminder, I am streaming on your favorite streaming platform Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday, starting at 12 p.m. Eastern time. So shout out to everyone that's checked me out, and a big shout out to Grunsky97 Grant for dropping me all those subs the other day. I really appreciate that. But we are back with another video next Thursday. I'm out. Peace.